Welcome to Grind 365, the podcast. Right now, we got a special guest in the building. He is no stranger to the city because he's from the city. Young D, a.k.a. Demrick. Man, thank you for being here.
Hey, I appreciate the invite, man. You know, it's all love. 509, man. It's hometown, home turf.
I think the city been wanting this, really. You know what I'm saying? For you, because we, you know, like you said, we was at the Xzibit concert. You was out there doing it on stage at the Spokane arena. And, you know, you get on stage and they like, Demrick, he from the town, you know, and the crowd, you know, some of them I'm sure probably knew, but some of them also was like, oh, what, you know? And so this is what this is for right here, you know what I'm saying? To kind of get in, you know. But like you said, from Spokane, Washington. Yeah. So, I mean, just tell me what is, you know, what age did you move out of here?
I moved, I lived here, like my mom was in the military, so I lived here mainly off and on all the way until I was 14 years old. Okay. So, you know, I went to elementary, junior high, and ninth grade out here. So I feel like, and I went to a lot of the schools too. Yeah. You know what I mean? That was at the time where, you know, I was getting kicked out and moved around the schools all the time. And so I seen a lot of different people that I met. So I feel like I spread my wings here in Spokane and really laid a foundation. And, you know, but then I moved away. You know, I moved to Tacoma. Then after that, I moved to Philadelphia. Then after that, I moved to Los Angeles, where I've been for a long time. So, you know, I think along the way, some people didn't even know that I was from Spokane. Because let's say if I had moved from Tacoma to Philly, they like, where you from? You just like, oh, Washington State is kind of a blanket thing. And then when you come over, I met Kurupt in Philly, and he was the one who inspired me and my group at the time to move to LA. And so then when he was going around LA introducing us to everybody, he was like, yo, these my Philly killers, you know? These my, you know, so then you're from Philly at that point in time. So I think through my music, I always tried to set the record straight and let people know that I was originally from Spokane, and I have tatted on me Riverfront Park, and I have the Liberty Bell from Philly, and then the palm trees and everything from Cali, and it says My Life. So, you know, I've always been open about that. I just think some stuff got lost in translation over the amount of time that I've been doing music and how much I moved, but I'm originally from Spokane, Washington. Yeah, because one moment you'll see Spokane, you see Philly. I think they had maybe in San Diego or something like that up on there. But, you know, translating back to Spokane, you know, just describe the living, you know, growing up as a youngster all the way up into to the teen life. I mean, bro, to be honest, growing up here in Spokane, man, I really loved it. But at the same time, I felt like super restricted. There wasn't like an internet or nothing like that, so you really didn't know nothing except Spokane life. And I didn't really grow up with a lot of like positive black role models because there wasn't a lot of black people that I seen in the city that were being successful, that weren't hustling from the streets. You know, like we were talking about, I'm from off the Baker family tree, which there was a lot of, you know, street activity and jail and hustling involved out here. So it's kind of grind, you know, but I was young doing things that I feel like I probably shouldn't have been doing 12, 13 years old. You know what I mean? First and Jefferson, you know, selling shit that I shouldn't be doing. And I was getting shown a lifestyle that I felt like was going to land me in prison or some shit like that. Because I think about all my homeboys who live out here, and every one of them been to jail. You know, so for me, when I think about my time frame here, I love the city, my family, my grandmas lived out here, all my aunts and my uncles, but it really felt like at that time frame, like the odds were stacked against me, you know, and I was heading down the wrong path.
Did that change when you moved out of here? Did you find that changing?
Yeah, hell yeah, because I got in a different living situation, you know, because we grew up really struggling, single parent home, you know, not really having a lot. And yeah, it was that. It was you trying to find a way to get the new clothes and shit. Like, you know, you just was getting activated and you was just that's all you were around. So who was going to show you the other path, right?
Right.
Nobody was really there to point you in the right direction. People were not talking about college. People were not talking about scholarships. People were not talking about creating businesses. People was trying to hustle and make some fast money, you know? So living here, I got that, and as I moved out, it kind of changed. But that always stuck with me, you know? You are who you're around, right?
Well, have you seen progress since those days till now?
What you saying, in me?
And no, just in the city itself, you know, with the...
well, I feel like the internet leveled the playing field, right? So social media kind of showed everybody that there's all kinds of people doing any kind of... you ain't got to go, you know, hit the streets and make that play. You could start a clothing line. You could do a podcast. You could do, you know, there's a lot more positive things that I'm seeing. I'm like downstairs. I mean, you know, this area right here, like how I remember this is where First and Jefferson was where I would go bust my plays to get paid. You know, and I think about it now, and there's a oyster bar with nice tequilas and all that kind of stuff in this area, and I see the gentrification happening, but I still see, you know, the homeless community, the you know, the obvious drug problem that's in the city, and how there's kind of like a teeter-totter scale. It's like you're either up or you're down, you know, in this town. So I do feel like I'm seeing progress, but at the same time, I feel like there's a lot more to be done.
Still on that struggle bus,
yeah.
You know, definitely. You have a story. It's actually a kind of inspiring story. You said 14, you went to New York in a car.
Oh, yeah.
Was that? And you escaped pretty much over there, right? And then I think you said you went to North Carolina with your uncle. Yep. Now, what did your uncle tell you upon the departure for North Carolina?
Man, it's funny. I was talking about that last night. My uncle. So I ran away from Spokane to the Bronx, stayed there 3-4 months, and we had got a car from a female that we weren't supposed to have, and we went across the United States with it, and we're staying at my homeboy's baby's mom's house. You know, one day he left with the car and he never came back. You know, so she instantly kicked us out. So I called my mom. My mom got me a flight to North Carolina, and then was going to give me some money for a flight to go from North Carolina back to Spokane. So when that happened, my uncle was like this, check this out, man. He's like, since you want to run away, since you want to see the world, you know, I'm going to get you a bus ticket that zigzags the United States, 12-day bus ride. He said, if you see a place that you like, get out. You know what I'm saying? And go run it up. But if you come back on the other side of that, you need to come back with a different mind frame. And he gave me the peanut butter and jelly. You know how they got the Smucker's thing where it's in the same jar? Yeah. A bag of chips, a box of Sunkist, and a loaf of bread. It sent me on my way. Now, at that time, my mom just got relocated to Vancouver, Washington, actually. And so when I came back and I got back to Spokane, I went directly to Vancouver, and then 6 months or something after that, I went to Tacoma. And that was it, man. And a lot of my homeboys, that summer, the summer that I ran away was the summer that a lot of my homies here ended up going to juvenile. So I think, you know, a lot of things happen for a reason, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And were you rapping at the teen age? Were you in
I
rap?
was 14. That's why I ran away with my rap group, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, we going to NYC, baby. We gonna see what's out there. We about to get it popping.
You didn't think that would be like maybe like a culture difference? Like maybe, you know, be kind of, we West Coast in a sense, so you didn't think like maybe New York ain't gonna feel the style or anything like that, or you just gonna out and get it, huh?
I always had that supreme confidence in my rapping ability, you know, because where I seen other people shining in sports and things like that, I felt myself like putting in the effort into the music, because it starts as a hobby, right? Or you just love something that you're seeing, then you emulate it, then it becomes your hobby, then it becomes your passion, then it becomes your job, and hopefully it'll become your life's work after it's all said and done, right? And I think at that time I was like past the like loving it, and it was like a hobby, but it was a hobby I was taking real seriously. Like I was writing raps all the time. I was the first one out of my homeboys that had songs. I had songs written, you know, about different things. And so I felt like that's kind of what gave me the edge. But shout out BG Church.
Okay, yep.
From Spokane. I lived on the same block as him. And, you know, he was the first person I seen rapping. And he was my first favorite artist that I looked up to. You know, he was there all the time rapping. He had some songs recorded. And I was like, shit, I want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, that was it. So,
you don't never hear anything bad about Certified, BG Church, anything. You know, the OGs in the game is still going strong. I mean, I feel like any given moment they could hold a show here and shut the building down. You know what I'm saying?
I know I was a fan.
Were you going by Young D at that time, or did you have a different name?
You know, rest in peace, my boy Nathan. I was Ace and he was Deuce. And we didn't really have a rap name, but we had rap name. We didn't have a group name, but we had some rap names together. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it started there. I didn't become, you know, when I was in Philly, I was in a group called Tangled Thoughts. So that was 3 members of us in that group. So I didn't really have an individual rap name. I got an individual rap name when I started working with Be Real, and I started working on my solo stuff. And he's like, "Yo, everybody in the studio is like, you need a rap name, man. Like, what's it gonna be?" And you know, at that time, everybody was Young this, Lil this, you know, that
right.
era that existed. And so I was younger. I was the youngest person at the studio. Said, "It's cool. We gonna call you Young D." So I started there, and then as I made more music and kind of like got further into my identity, I just went with my original name, which is Demrick, because it's nobody else got that name. I ain't see nobody in hip hop with that name, and I had never met nobody else with that name, and it really like embraced something that I think when I was growing up. You know, when you in the first day of schools, many different schools as I went to, you know, what's your name? You know, Demrick or this or that or whatever. They used to get it wrong every time. And it's like, you know, I ain't like my name really growing up, but embracing it and making it my artist name, like empowered it and gave me some individuality. Yeah.
And so you said you went to Tacoma, and then was from there, is that where you went to Philly then?
That's where I went to Philly, yeah.
And then, I mean, how'd you stumble upon Kurupt?
Well, when I was out there in Philly, you know, I was in a group. We were doing everything on the scene in Philly as far as like, you know, selling the tickets, opening the shows. We had like a weekly night on South Street, which was like the most popping street. You know, we had songs with Freeway at the time, Gilly. We had been working with people from Philly, and you know, there was a producer in my crew. And Roscoe, Kurupt's younger brother, was working on an album, and his cousin connected him with Tech, who was in my group. From there, we met Kurupt. Kurupt really liked the production and liked the group, so he's like, "Bro, I can't really help you out here in Philly the same way I could help you in LA, but y'all got to be ready to put it on the line." But like I said, I grew up moving, so for me, relocating wasn't nothing. So, you know, I had relocated to Philly to chase my hip hop dream. So to now go to LA with Kurupt.
What time frame was that, or what year?
That was 2000. That was 2006.
Okay.
When we went out there, and then we released the Kurupt Presents Tangled Thoughts album in 2007, and then the group disbanded after that. But at the time, you know, I was willing to go wherever I needed to be be heard. And so it's kind of risky, right? You pack your whip up, you pack your car up, you drive across the United States, you get to California, and you want this famous legendary rapper to do everything that he promised he was going to do, you know? And shout out to him, because he did everything. He had us in the studio with Snoop, had us in the studio with all the West Coast legends, like immediately. And I was a game changer, man, because you know, you making music in your basement or in your studio or you at your crib, studio time here and there, but you really just making it with your homeboys. And then now you're going around all these people you idolize, especially me being from the West Coast. It meant even more, right? Because I mean, I was walking the streets of Spokane listening to Doggy Style album, my favorite album that kind of made me fall in love with hip hop on another level. And then now I'm in the studio with them. So that really kind of like opened my eyes on manifestation and that anything was possible. Like I keep having moments that happen in my career that I'm like, this is what I wanted to have happen, and then you're living it, after a while,
Yeah, that's got to be like you said, being from Spokane, and then all of a sudden you find yourself with Kurupt, Roscoe, and then from there you got another jump to Snoop Dogg. Like, and most artists don't get that transition like that, at least right away, Mm-hmm. So that I would imagine making you step your game up with the bars and everything else, just being around them and really proving yourself to even be in that position.
Yeah.
And what happened with the group? Did the group end up?
Man, Los Angeles and California, it's expensive, and some people gonna be able to stay afloat easier than others, and we kept it together as long as we could. But I think, time, we were a group for a long time, and we fulfilled a part of what we wanted to do when we signed and released that Kurupt Presents album that we did. Like, whether it was a big success or whatever, we always just wanted to get an album out. We always wanted to sign a deal, put an album out, and we did that. And then life just got in the way. At the time, I had met Be Real. He had took a liking to my stuff, and he opened a studio for me to be able to go over there and record, and that was it, kind of like drifted apart.
And were you popping out mixtapes at this time? Because I seen you at work with Ski and Who
Yeah, that was my first mixtape, was DJ Ski. That was Be Real and Kurupt hosted that.
Okay, together in a sense, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that was the first one. Then me and Cassius did the Who Kid mixtape. So yeah, and that was the blog. That was the beginning of the blog era. So that was really an exciting time because, before that, we was burning CDs and hand to hand in them. And then all of a sudden you could put your music on the internet and some blog sites will pick it up. Two Dope Boys, thisis50.com, Wright, a bunch of those, the hot new hip hop, and you were seeing your music get listened to by 1 million. I remember I had my first music video that was on the top box of World Star, and I seen it went to like 1 million views in like 3 days, and I was blown away. I was like going from like the only person that hears your music is somebody who catches you at a little local show or that you hand a CD to 1 million people hearing your shit. And I was like, oh man, I felt like I couldn't be stopped at that time because I make a lot of music, so to be able to put it out for people to hear, I knew I wasn't going to run out of rhymes. I wasn't going to run out of ideas. I was going to be able to take advantage of the internet.
How many projects would you estimate? I'm sure you probably couldn't even tell me on the dot, but how many projects you think you've dropped?
Like 28 or something like that. I gotta really take a look, but I've dropped a lot of music. And because I always figure like, okay, you seem to be a traveling man, so you all over the states and stuff like that. You're meeting artists over here, artists on this coast, artists wherever. And so obviously your content, the music that you're bringing, you have to bring it, or else somewhere you probably get lost in the sauce somewhere in there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So do you feel like that kind of molded you into something, progressing and getting stronger? I think the more music that I made and the more like that I realized who my fans are and what I was trying to reach, I understood the purpose of making music even more. Because I originally was making music for myself, just wanting to be the best, the same person like on the basketball court, just trying to, be the one to get the highest points, the MVP, win the game. I think that I started there. And as I started writing these songs and I seen that they affected people, then I understood. I was like, okay, cool. There's power in this music that I'm making. So it made it easier for me to like make a specific thing to like spark an emotion, you know, whether it's just having a good time, partying, turning up, or if I want to make you reminisce, like how you were talking to me before the podcast about like sacrifice, and like convey that so that somebody could watch that and then they could apply that to their own life.
One of my favorite tracks, definitely.
Yeah, and I found power in that because music is therapeutic, man. At the end of the day, at least that's what I always used it for, is my therapy of writing it, and people listening to it. You know, I feel like it does the same thing. I remember when I like a song, I play it 100 times. You know, I can't tell you how many times I listen to a song that I love, you know? So my goal is to put music out there that could be my fans or somebody new that doesn't know about me next favorite song.
Yeah. And then before I even jump in the group, you go on to meet Xzibit. How did that play out?
Well, at the time I was working with B Real a lot, and B Real released his solo album called Smoke and Mirrors, and I was on 5 songs on that album. And one of the songs was playing on satellite radio nonstop. So then at that time they was like, oh, B Real from Cypress Hill, he got a protege. You know, his name's Young D. He's out here. He's up next. You know. And so I had got a call from some of the Aftermath people to come and do some writing over there at the studio for, you know, Dre been working on the Detox even way back then.
Oh, wow.
At that time frame. And so I went to the studio and Xzibit was there. And so I was like, oh, this Young D. This is B Real's protege. He's like, oh, you on this song? Don't You Dare Laugh. He's like, this is like one of my favorite songs right now. And that was the single that was out off the B Real album. So I exchanged information with X, and I went back and told B Real that X was fucking with the record. And so X was like, B Real was like, I might want to get him on a remix, you know? And so I hit up X. X was like, of course. He came down to the studio, B Real studio, which was right down the street from where he had lived. It was a coincidence. And bro, X came to the studio. He didn't really leave. You know what I'm saying? Xzibit was in there, you know, as much as we were all in there working on music. Then eventually him and B Real owned the building together. And now now X still has that same studio to this day, you know? And
So would you say you the one that kind of brought their relationship closer?
No, they had a relationship already, but sometimes when people got their own empires in different places, you don't really cross paths like that. So I was just able to go back to B Real and be like, hey, X is fucking with this. And they was like, oh, you think he'll jump on the remix? Shoot a text out, hey, you want to get, you know? So it wasn't like I brought them closer. It's just like X liked the record and I just brought it up, you know, but it ended up working out to be something really dope, because from there, you know, I worked on the Cypress Hill album over there. I worked on X's album that he put out, Napalm. I'm on there a couple times, and then we started cultivating that group Serial Killers at the time, where it was me, Xzibit, and B Real in a group together, you know, which is like a fucking dream come true to me. What number
project are you guys on right now?
We dropped 4.
4 of them? Okay.
Yeah. And so right place, right time, right energy, good people, and just a blessing.
And then, interesting story, you went on to tour with B Real and Busy Bone.
Yeah, that was my very first States tour.
And that's where I met you for the very first time.
That's crazy.
Yes. And I remember I had my homeboy. He was kind of, you know when you got the homeboys that act as the managers and whatnot. So that's what he was doing for me. And he brought it up to the venue. And he was like, yo, and remember at that time they had no openers. I mean, they had a couple people that wanted to get on the show. Mm-hmm. But he's like, he just dropped the album. And they was like, oh, yeah. They was like, give him a half hour. So he comes back to me. He's like, man, they ready to give you a half hour. I was like, I'm used to 15-minute sets, a half hour.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, this is a different ballpark, you know? So they was like, if you can, get some tickets out, it don't even matter, just go. And I remember we hit up the city. Like, we were just excited because, Bone Thugs and Harmony, I grew up off of them. Especially, I remember being a little toddler, looking in the sliding, glass door, just thinking I'm mimicking the words, but they was going too fast for me at that age. But you know what I'm saying? So that was an honor. Even got to meet you and Be Real backstage, and I got to meet Busy Bone backstage, and it was nothing but love, during that show. And
I think that, bro, that had to be, because I had said he dropped that album in 2010, but he had dropped it, I believe it was 2009, bro.
It was early, because I think that at that age, I must have been about 19, so that was probably about 2008, 2009 when I dropped that. Yeah,
bro,
so.
that blows my mind because
I actually think we met your parents there.
Oh yeah,
I think they were in the crowd. They're like, oh, once again, we seeing your family everywhere. They hold it down.
But my pops Dexter, he was definitely there. I remember him all excited when the tour bus pulled up. He was juiced. Yeah, man. For real, man.
Sometimes it feels like yesterday, and you just don't know how much time has really gone by, like how much time has flew by. And I imagine for you being as busy as you are, constantly dropping projects and songs, does time seem to be going by fast for you?
Yeah, I feel like it's just moving fast. Obviously the pandemic slowed it down, and last year was kind of it's kind of like getting back in the flow of things, but this year, I've already been to Australia and New Zealand with X, top of the year. I'm out here on this It Gets Greater Later tour.
Yes, indeed.
Right now, and I got a full schedule. I got a schedule for damn near the rest of the year. So it feels like how I assumed 2020 was gonna be, So I'm happy that I'm back there and I'm on the move. But yeah, time is flying by.
I'm trying to think of his name. You did a collabo tour not long ago with another independent artist. You guys, I think you said it was kind of like your own kind of tour, kind of like a you know who I'm talking about? Another independent. He was messing with I think Dame and all them with the
Dizzy, right?
With gosh, they had Dame had the he had the little Khan. There we go. Thank you for taking it out my mouth. Khan, dope artist actually. I play him.
Shout out to Khan, man. Great guy.
At least we used to play him on the radio station that I got the program and stuff. So Khan's dope. So when I seen you linking up with him, and I think like I said, Dame had done some stuff behind the scenes when I think they got everybody in the house.
Oh yeah,
or something like that.
We had done the 1 week notice album, the first one, and he was on the second one.
Okay, the second, yeah.
Yeah, but that tour actually didn't happen because
okay, that makes sense.
The tour. That's why I was saying about last year was kind of like slow out the blocks. Like I did go on one tour with Dizzy last year, and then did a bunch of spot dates with X. I got to go to Dubai. I got to go to Jordan. So I got to travel and see a couple new places and things like that, but not like now. I think I'm used to doing like 3 to 5 tours a year.
Yeah.
So now it feels more
and it seems you've been, like you said, you was just here not long ago.
Yeah.
Hop off that to jump on this tour, you know, and then you said you got some stuff lined up right after this. So, yeah, does it feel good to get things back in the motion right after COVID?
Bro, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I feel like the shows are getting better. My numbers are getting better. The reception's getting better. That's why that statement It Gets Greater Later means so much. Is because if you stay down and you stay consistent, you don't fall off, you don't lose grip of what you want to do, you stay steady on the course, don't be afraid to build with a team, it's gonna get greater later, bro. And that's the energy that you need to move forward with. Any artist that sees this, if you're from Spokane or not, I want you to know you put the time in, you put the effort. There's no way you're not going to see progress headed in the direction that you want to go.
Amen. You guys come together to make up that name for the tour or did someone
it was like a slogan,
Yeah.
We always it get greater later. You know what I'm saying? It's just something we always just throwing around. So Yeah, but we collectively went over a bunch of names, and I think that one, for myself, Dizzy Wright, Jaron Benton, and Jay Reezy, I think that name suits us because everybody been around doing it for a while, and so to still see progress on it is a good message to get out there to people.
And then, so you got all that going. At what point did the Dizzy Wright relationship start to evolve?
Well, we had one of the serial killer albums, which is myself, Xzibit, and Be Real, and Be Real hit me up and said, "Hey, we're gonna shoot a music video to Angels Come Calling. We're gonna shoot it at the High Times Cannabis Cup. I'm about to get the Stoner of the Year award." I'm like, "Okay, cool, let's go." And he said, "Hey, Dizzy Wright is gonna roll out with us to the event." I was like, "Cool, all right, dope." So we went out, we shot the video, we all kicked it, and me and Diz, I was like, "Oh yeah, similar minds, And I asked him, I was like, "Yo, bro, I'm working on this album," which was my debut album, Losing Focus, that I actually put out my own solo album on a label, and I asked him to get on this song called "We Still Here." So he was like, "Yeah, I got you." So he did the feature, and then he came and did the music video too. And so by the time the end of the video, if you watch that thing, it's like just like one big party, everybody having fun. It's like a real feel good type of vibe. And by the end of that, that was my homie. Anytime I would be in Vegas, I'd be hitting Dizzy up, and anytime he was coming to LA, he was hitting me up. And then me, DJ Hopper, worked on the Stony Point album. He got on a song called Dizzy got on a song called Clouds Above Us. And so Diz was about to go on his Growing Process tour, and he said, "Hey bro, I got a bunk on the bus if you want to roll out and do the tour." And then there it is, you know what I'm saying? That was another opportunity,
I feel like that was actually like a perfect match in a sense, because I think I even seen somewhere he was saying that he was trying to get you on the Funk Volume towards the end of all that, you know.
I did some of that Funk Volume 2015 tour with them. I definitely was building with everybody at the label, me and Jaron, myself and DJ Hopper, me and Swizz had songs. I had a song with Hobson. Hobson was on one of the Serial Killer albums. He was like on our EPK, talking about the album and the music and everything. So that was a relationship that was being cultivated, and who knows where it would have went if the label would have stayed together. But that was a great time.
All that playing out from the not being from within the label, but could you see it all playing out the way it did with Funk Volume?
I just not really, because anytime I do a show with them or whatever, shit was popping. It was cracking. The energy was in the building. I was inspired by them. They were doing it independent. I really liked the independent route because I didn't want to have to, have people at labels tell me what I should do or this creatively. I felt like I have more ability. I always like to drop a lot of music, so I felt like being an independent artist was working out better for me. So I was inspired by how big they had took it to.
Yeah.
And so I didn't think that it would just kind of like have the end result that it happened, and it happened kind of quick.
Right.
I mean, I was on some of the shows of the 2015 tour, Funk Volume tour, and the camaraderie and energy was all there. But a lot of times, bro, you don't know what's going on the back end. You don't know what's happening with the business, and if you don't have the business right, then you can't run a business.
Well, and then you and Dizzy just continue on.
Yeah, we did a Blaze With Us. We done 2 Blaze With Us albums, but yeah.
And like you said, and even then I look back on when you guys first started collaborating, and that was years ago.
Yeah.
And even now you're still collaborating with the Xzibits and the Be Reals. And I mean, what do you think that says about your journey?
I mean, you got to stay solid, man. I'm looking right at the camera, man. You gotta stay solid out here, man. You don't want to burn no bridges. You don't want to be the kind of person that's gonna fumble the ball when you get the ball. You gotta stay solid with the ones that stay solid with you, and that's it, bro. That's how you grow in this thing.
And I like, because lately I've been seeing some of the tracks you reflect on Spokane, so you go back and you tell your story, you know what I'm saying, and you let it be known multiple times of how you came out of here and where you at now, and just reflecting on that. And that's the type of music that I like, just the good vibes. And one thing about you and Dizzy that I both realized, you guys just got your own lane. You kind of just stay in it. A lot of these artists, they jump into music that they're not known for, and it's like, well, you tried something new, and sometimes that can burn you because maybe you were a street cat, but you tried to get in some club music and then just realize the crowd ain't feeling it anymore. But you guys have always stayed consistent and on the independent grind too at that, and I think that has kind of like gave you guys the roots to kind of like, tell other independent artists on how to do this in the game. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so that's one thing I respect about the music and stuff like that. What you got going on right now, music wise?
Right now, me and Jaron Benton, we have an album called what's the name? Oh, Black Canvas. So we got an album ready. We've been dropping some singles off it, and we're gonna still drop some more singles off of it leading up to it. I just finished the album with Mike and Keys, the producers that did a lot of Nipsey stuff. They've been my homies for years. They were part of the beginning stages of my musical journey in California and whatnot. So got an album with them. I have an album produced by Cosmo. That he did a lot of the Burner music and things like that. Been my homeboy for years. I got an album with him. We talking about new serial killers music ideas. We talking about new Blaze with us type of stuff. But got a lot. But my immediate things is going to be my Mike and Keys album and my album with Jaron Benton.
Okay. Is that kind of what this tour is helping out with? Was the promo of all that? Or
we definitely doing a song off the album, in his set and shit like that, and just spreading the word and just showing that camaraderie, right?
Yeah.
And showing that we actually rock with each other so that fans could really, see. Me and Jaron, we dropped a lot of music together. And some of those records, fans love those records. So we just got together and made a whole project.
You get to do anything with Nipsey Hussle before his passing?
I never did any, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. Never did any music with him, met him, I say a handful of times in L.A. Nothing but respect for what I think everybody in the world was inspired by him, especially from hip-hop. And I feel like even in his passing, it's transcended past that,
Yeah.
And but I never worked with him, but got a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, I'm proud to say that I was following him from, when he had the Criss Cross remix, he did the beat to that, and you get a lot of people like, oh, you ain't, you weren't really digging them until everything popped off. And it's like me, same with Mac Miller, same with a lot of these other artists. I've been following them from the mixtape days, what I'm saying. So it's a blessing and a curse, obviously, because they're taking our great ones away. So but talk about Stony Point, man.
Stony Point is a collaboration. We got 3 albums now that we did. Myself, DJ Hopper, dope producer, great DJ, and we started doing that. And we have a cannabis strain that sells all through California. That's a lot of people love it. I love it. So being in the cannabis business, we're also in Nevada as well. And just
is that hard to move around? Like, what's the chances of it getting over here? And
well, because it's not federally legal, you gotta meet cultivators and people with license and distributors in each state, right? So we were lucky that our partner, shout out Kushco from that we do our Stony Point with, they're a multi-state operator, so they operate in California and in Nevada as well. But to be out here and do it out here, myself and Dizzy, we met with some guys who had some brands, and went and toured a bunch of shops out here. Grows out here, and it's finding a grower and a brand that has the fire. Number one, because you can't stamp. You gotta have the fire in that bag, man. It just can't be the bag, man. It's gotta be what's in it that counts, you know. So you gotta find a good business partner out here to build with. But that's one of my goals. One of my goals for 2023 is to put some cannabis on the shelves out here in Washington.
And holla at me. I'll definitely be out there spreading the word for you, man.
Yeah, I will, man. Make sure you get a pack. We just got to find the growers that got the fire, man.
Yeah.
So if you see this and you know that you grow the best, hit me up. You know, we're looking for some people that we could do some cool stuff with, because I was selling pre-rolls at Gary junior high, man.
Yeah,
you know
Gary.
what I'm saying? It's just a young buck, man. You know what I'm saying? And so it's been one of my passions to have some strains and some representation here in Washington State.
And just a real quick, I just want to state another one of my favorites, Rotation.
Okay.
Featuring Austin Sexton.
Thank
In fact, me being an artist, when I heard Austin Sexton on that track, and at this time I'm looking for like a lot of singers. I'm like, you know, usually I collab with a lot of other artists, but I was like, this time I want a lot of singers. And I heard that and I was like, I gotta holler at him. So I made the track happen.
Oh,
you know
nice.
what I'm saying? Yes, indeed.
Dope.
And it's cool to watch his journey,
Yeah.
you know, and him still put out the good vibe music that he's putting out. So thanks to you for showing us, you know what I'm saying? Otherwise I wouldn't have ever known, you
That's
know,
so
maybe
dope.
eventually, but you know,
Yeah.
so
That's cool.
yes,
Yeah, that's
indeed.
dope, man. Shout out to Austin, man. That's my homeboy. That's like home base. You know, I work out of Playback LA, back in California. You know where I'm at. And DJ Overtone, OT, mixes all my records and everything. And Austin is somebody that he had been working with for years. So I've known Austin for a long time. I've seen him grow as an artist, as a producer, and you know, homeboy's super talented, could sing, play all kinds of instruments, produce. Yeah, it's just he's just all around like a real musician and a real artist. So it's cool to see, you know, how it all connects together. You know, how that song could inspire you to do something with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
That's cool.
Real quick before we go, can you give, you know, just the people, it could be Spokane, anybody, some inspiring words, especially in the independent game, that's looking to, you know, kind of take at least somewhat the journey that you're taking and still maintain after all these years, shake the hands that you shook in and everything, being a small town, Spokane kid.
I mean, I would say, like, put your music out. You know what I'm saying? Don't hold on to it. Share your music, you know? It's one thing if you just want to make it for yourself or, you know, something like that. That's totally fine too, because I also realized along the way that, like, I didn't need nobody to give me validation to know that I'm an artist. You know, I'm an artist because I make music. You know, I love to express myself like that. So, you share your music is that's where you're gonna get the results from. If you put music out and if people like it, it's gonna build. And a slow grind is better than no grind.
Yes.
And you just gotta allow compound interest to happen, and that takes time. You know, so just put out your music, man. Be smart about your ideas. Keep a solid team around you. Try to find people that believe in what you believe in, because this is a cool time too. I just got, you know, like, now there's people out there that's be like, all right, cool. I wanna be a video editor. I wanna be a graphic designer. I wanna be a manager. I want to do a podcast. The same shit I was telling you about earlier.
Yeah.
Like, that shit didn't exist before. It's like, I'm trying to get some work to double up and get some money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, like Snoop said, you know, he goes, I'd rather put a mic in somebody's hand
Then
or a
put
camera.
Then put some work in there.
Yes.
You know, but it's cool because That's cool now. You want to be an influencer. You want to be a gamer. You want to be whatever you want to do. So it's really like putting a team together. I think is easier now than ever because there's more information on different things. And yeah, just share your music, bro. Get your equipment. You know, a little laptop, whatever you need to make, you know, do stuff, all the tutorials. Go to YouTube University and figure out anything you want to figure out in life and go for your dream, man. That's it.
And it's nonstop change. There's always more and more platforms coming out for artists, especially for independent artists, you know. So what's the name of yours and Jaron Benton's album again, or project?
It's called Black Canvas.
Black Canvas. Make sure y'all go peep Black Canvas. You want to give them the social media sites?
Yeah, just go to I am Demrick. That's the @ on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, everything. Demrick420.com is my website. And just, you know, Google your boy, man. Tap into the YouTube, listen to some music if you don't know. And bro, I just want to say this. I got so much love for Spokane. I got so much love for Washington State. I want to see tomorrow's stars come from this town. I want to see a lot of energy be put into this. And if you are creative, go after your craft, blow up, and man, put this city on the map, man. Make it even bigger and more known. Make Washington State more known. There's not as many successful artists out of here yet. It's really a territory and an opportunity where you could come in here and be the one. You know what I'm saying? They have Macklemore and Sir Mix-a-Lot, and
right.
You know, you got a lot of independent people like myself and other people that have came out of here. So there is talent in this town. There's talent in this state, and just get out there, man. Get on your grind. Let people know that you here and you're not fucking around. Let's go.
Like he says, slow grind's better than a no grind. We grind 365 around here, man. You got to come back if you come back in the city, man. We love to have you back.
Oh, yeah, man. Every time. Family affair.
Demrick, I'm your host, Down Low. You can catch us, Grind 365, the podcast. Look us up, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. We're going to keep coming with that. To all my grinders, one love. Spokane, one love. Demrick, one love, man. Thank you. And we out.
24/7, 12 months a year, 365.